Welcome into Hockey Sense, everybody. Brought to you by First Community. Great to have you with us. As always, a big weekend of hockey here in St. Louis with back-to-back games. Tonight against the Flyers. Vegas is in town tomorrow night. Can't wait to see Vegas. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're all about. I watched them on TV a little bit last night, and they ended up losing the game last night to the Islanders in overtime. You know, the Islanders are fun to watch too, man. The Blues are about to hit a 5-game road swing, which means next Friday for Hockey Sense, we're going to be doing it remotely. I guess next Friday I'll be in New York, I guess, for the Islanders game on Saturday. Be flying there. The Blues play in Philly prior to that. So it goes Toronto, Philly, Islanders, Rangers, Devils. I mean, 5-game trip. And what will the Blues look like when they come out of this 5-game trip? You know, you just wondered coming out of this 4-game homestand what it would look like. They've played 2 games so far. They've gotten points in both. They won one. They lost one in overtime that they should have won. You can go back to the goalie interference review that took place against Seattle. Listen, I've moved so far past it. Some people are still really upset about it. But you could certainly argue the Blues should have won that game in regulation. The game should have been over. Should have been no goal, and that's that. But not the situation we're looking at currently. Seattle wins a big game last night at home. They beat Winnipeg. Vince Dunn was the number 1 star in the game. They got 3 points in that game. Matthew Schaefer, another goal for the Islanders who beat Vegas, like I said. Some interesting games. I mean, Calgary, who's been terrible, they shut out San Jose. You just wonder, is San Jose going to be able to maintain what they've been doing? I want to know if all these teams can do it. I mean, Montreal just gets pummeled at home. They lose 7-0. It's got to be one of the worst losses on home ice in franchise history for the Montreal Canadiens. So who is Montreal? Who is Toronto? Everyone was calling Toronto a Stanley Cup contender coming into this game. You know, I watched Toronto earlier in the season, very early in the season. And I'm looking at the roster. I'm watching them play. I'm like, I just don't think they're that good. And, you know, people are starting to blame the coach. They want to fire the coach. Isn't that so typical? That's what everyone does up there. You want to fire the coach all the time. And I get it maybe when it was Mike Babcock and he's doing stuff that maybe he shouldn't have been doing. But you just can't keep firing the coach and expect different results, man. You need better players. You've got really, really strong high-end players. And then that's such a drop-off. And they're just not good enough defensively to get it done. They haven't been good enough at the goaltending position really to get it done, even though their goaltending is decent. And they got goalies who are good enough to play well and to win you games in the regular season. I just don't think they give the team a ton of confidence. It is what it is. Toronto is what they are. But firing the coach, settle down. Is that the only go-to for some people? When things don't go well, is you say we want to bring in Pete DeBoer. Listen, I like Pete DeBoer too. You'd be looking to fire him in a couple years. He doesn't stay there very long, no matter where he goes. Peter Lavioletti's coaching, you know, almost every team in the league. I like all these guys, super, you know, successful coaches in their, you know, NHL careers. But pump the brakes, get better players, and get more out of your best players. The problem was these guys weren't coached the right way early in their career. So now you're trying to, like, teach an old dog new tricks when they're already established dogs. They're not puppies anymore. And listen, they were never truly coached hard. And you're seeing that right now with Craig Berube in terms of what he's trying to do with guys like Matthews and Nylander and some of these guys. And I think to Matthews to a lesser extent. I think Matthews has always been pretty responsible defensively. Tavares, you know what you're going to get. Nyes is a guy who's still learning. Young player is going to be good for a long time. But Nylander's the one guy. You see his comments the other day when he's talking about you know, the lack of success they're having defensively. And he said, well, as long as we're scoring goals, because it's harder to score goals. Listen, I understand what he's trying to say, but he's just not getting it at the same time. Sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of offense. Be willing to sacrifice a little bit of offense. Don't cheat. And take care of your defense first, and that's going to lead to more team success. So anyway, all right, so Colby Cohen's going to join us. You see him on what's the name of their show? He and Johnny Lazarus do a great show. I don't even know the name of it. I think it's on the DFO platform. They do an unbelievable job. Great clips. I watch them every day. Johnny does a great job, and Colby Cohen does a great job. I've known Colby for a long time because he was always tight with Kevin Shattenkirk. Played at Boston University, was a high draft pick at Colorado, played some games in the NHL, and he's done a lot of media work. So we'll talk with Colby Cohen. Jamal Mayers is expected to join us. Now, you may or may not see him during the show. And I say he will because he said he's going to jump on, but he's working San Jose Sharks radio right now. And I want to say it's like when I call him, it's going to be just after 7 o'clock in the morning. So he says he'll be up and he'll be ready to go. But if he's not, we certainly understand. And I got to head downtown anyway. Looking forward to getting downtown and starting to prep for tonight's game against Philly. We only see Philly in St. Louis one time a year. You see them twice total. So I'm looking forward to it. The Blues were off yesterday, so they had no skate. They skated Wednesday. Looks like um, Nick Bukestad could be the odd man out for this one tonight against Philly. We'll see if that stays the same Saturday against Vegas, and we'll see if that's even the case. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but Matthew Joseph looked like he was a player, and it looks like he would draw back in, but we'll have to wait and see what the lineup looks like. The Blues are starting to get some offense from some different players. I mean, Matthew Kessel gets a goal the other night. I like this Kessel. I'm curious if Hunter Skinner, gets a game. He's on recall right now up from the American League. He's never played a game in the NHL as a defenseman. Michigan kid. But I liked him in training camp. He came over in the Tarasenko deal. He's got some real potential. He's 24 years old now. I'd love to see him get a game, and I would imagine that he will get a game at some point, especially with the back-to-backs coming up, and then, of course, the long road trip. We'll see what that looks like, and we'll see if Hunter Skinner can get his first ever NHL game. That'd be cool to see if he can get in. But Matthew Kessel's saying, pump the brakes. I'm not coming out anytime soon. I mean, the way this guy's playing, the way he's defending, this guy is built like a ship brick house, honestly. I mean, he is just strong. And, he gets in the way, doesn't get pushed around. He's got great strength on his skates. He's got a strong stick. And now we're starting to see him play with a little more confidence. And he knows what to do when the puck's on his stick in the offensive end. Much like we talk about Tyler Tucker and the points that he put up in junior. And, this guy was a power play guy, talking about Tucker, scored a lot of goals his last year or two in the OHL. Listen, Kessel is the same thing. I mean, Kessel, I think, was among the league or the leaders in the country, if not the number one for goals scored by freshmen, defensemen in NCAA hockey his first year at UMass, where he just missed Cale Makar. But they had a lot of success as a team, won a national championship. But I want to say he led all freshman defensemen in scoring, or at least goal scoring, his freshman year. Ended up scoring more goals his sophomore year, had 10 goals his sophomore year. So he can score goals, man. And, you see his shot the other night. You can argue the goalie maybe should have had it a little bit, but you know what? He is a perfect puck placement, put the puck exactly where it needed to be, and was able to sneak it in past the goaltender there and get the Blues on the board against Calgary, where they needed to have that win. I don't want to be too dramatic, but if the Blues lose that game on home ice to Calgary the other night, it may have been lights out for the season. Mathematically, no, but I just think in terms of the reality of the situation. I mean, you're losing at home. If you're going to lose at home to Calgary, it's going to be tough. You want to make the playoffs, you just can't lose at home to Calgary. And so the good news is they got it done. Should have beaten Seattle, like I said. And they've gotten points in 4 of the last 5 games, something like that. So I was with Jim Montgomery the other night. We had an event at Bespoke Apparel. Great place. If you're ever going to get custom-made suits, go to Bespoke. Go there today. Right there in Clayton. Right across the street from like the Normal brand, the Pancake House. It's right on the edge, close to 170 in Ladue, almost where Ladue meets Clayton. But I think it's considered Clayton, right there. Anyway, so I'm there with Monty, and listen, we talked for a while, and he truly believes that his team is so close to really turning things around and really moving in the right direction and really getting this thing going. I think he really thinks they're there, or at least almost there. And I think he was a realist, too, earlier in the year, knowing that they weren't even close to being there. So, yeah, there was a lot of frustration, some hard coaching, some guys sitting out, some practices that aren't routine, skating after the morning after a game when you have a back-to-back. So having a morning skate when you're on the second half of a back-to-back. Some bag skates mixed in there. but the goaltending's gotten better. Everything kind of falls in line with the goaltending. And I think Binnington, getting that win the other night, big shout out to him because he becomes the all-time games played leader in the history of the Blues organization. Passes Mike Liut. Already has the most wins in the history of the organization. Now he's got the most games played. I feel like now maybe this is going to get that mojo going for him. He's going to get in that rhythm, and Binnington will hopefully start to take off because I feel like Hofer's starting to do that as well. He's had a couple good games his last couple of starts after a really rough stretch. But you want to point to reasons as to why the Blues were losing early on. I mean, it's hard not to look at the goaltending. And I know there were some bad bounces and some bad puck luck and whatnot, but at the end of the day, the goaltending wasn't good enough. And for me, you can look at the Chicago game, but I mostly look at the Detroit game when they were up 4-0 in that game, ended up losing. Coming out in the third period, didn't have Robert Thomas, who took the hit up high earlier in that game. You didn't have Jake Neighbors, essentially, because he blocked that shot. Neighbors, by the way, is making some progress. My guess is he's going to be back on this upcoming road trip. We'll get some information on this soon. But I think he could play on this road trip. I think he is going to go on the road, and I think he could play. Maybe the Islanders game, potentially. So circle that game for now. The Islanders game next Saturday. Maybe that's a game we see Jake Neighbors return and play because it would be great to have him back in the lineup. There's no doubt. All right, let's take a break. We're going to come back with Colby Cohen, get into a number of stuff around the NHL. Again, Blues and Flyers tonight, and then Blues against Vegas tomorrow night. So if you're listening to this or watching this on Saturday or Sunday because you couldn't get to it on Friday, yeah, we're not reacting to the game Friday night against the Flyers just because of timing. So hope you understand that. And we appreciate your support, as always, all the time. We love our support we get from everybody, and we love the support we get from First Community. This show wouldn't be possible without First Community. Make your savings work for you. If you've got money sitting around in a savings account or a cookie jar or in your mattress, you should invest it. I tell you that each and every week. With as little as $500, you can open up a certificate of deposit, earn over 5%. It's a really, really good rate. And unlike most high-risk investments, your money is totally safe because it's guaranteed. So if you don't want to tie up your money at all, you should consider a money management account through First Community. Make it work for you. Keep it safe. The team at First Community is there to help you and figure out what is best for you. So call them today. You can check them out online. The higher the rate, listen, the more you invest, the higher the rate, and there's no monthly service charge. So the money is completely accessible to you, so it's always available. Check it out, firstcommunity.com. Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. David Novak, my main man. I'll see him at the game over the weekend, and, he'll be ready to go. He's ready to take your call right now and give you that free estimate, too. Check out that roof. How long is insurance going to pay for the repair or for you to replace it? Some of these insurance companies, you get 10 years deep, they say, nope, now it's on you. They'll no longer pay for a new roof. So if you're at 8, 9 years, 7 years, listen, start looking at it right now and get that new roof from my boy David Novak over at Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, whatever it is you're looking for, let him take great care of you. Cross Country Mortgage, 1 in every 35 mortgages are closed with Cross Country Mortgage. You know that. Call Mark Cooper today, 314-713-4377. This guy is the absolute best. 1 in every 35 loans across the country are closed with Cross Country Mortgage. This guy does so much for first responders. I mean, incredible for first responders. All first responders' loans and mortgages are covered up to $525,000. In the event they are critically injured or even killed in the line of duty. They are covered up to $525,000. It's amazing. Great rates right now on refinances. They're going to waive all the closing costs and all the fees if you mention Hockey Sense or mention Andy Strickland. So do that today for a refinance, which you can get in the 5s now. I mean, they're in the lowest point that they've been in the last 12 years. It's absolutely incredible. Mark Cooper, 314-713-4377. Call Mark Cooper today. Let him take great care of you. Nobody does it better than Mark Cooper with Cross Country Mortgage. Dirt cheap, fun, your one-stop party shop. Download the app. Have you downloaded the app? I keep telling you to download the app and do it today. If you're having people over for Thanksgiving, no better place to shop for your beer, wine, and booze. I'll tell you that right now. They've got great deals on everything. Don't sleep on the party goods, the party supplies, paper goods, all that type of stuff. So if you're having fall parties, bonfires, people over for Thanksgiving, holiday parties around the corner, listen, take advantage of everything you can get from Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your no-stop party shop. And free delivery. They now offer free delivery if you live within 10 miles of a store. So you can check that out on their app as well and get that delivery going. You don't even have to drive up to the store unless you want to, because it's always fun going inside the store. A lot of the stores have drive-through as well, so you never have to get out of your car. You can still do curbside service, all of that. But use that delivery and get it for free when you mention the promo code BLUES and you live within 10 miles. All that is available on their website or on the app. All right, Colby Cohen. He joins me next. I'm Andy Strickland. Thanks for hanging out. It's our Friday tradition. This is Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. All right, good to have Colby Cohen join us. Where are you at? You in New York, Boston? Where are we?
I live in Villanova, PA, and most people say, "Oh, the college," and I'm like, "Yes, the college is in the town, but this is a small little town here on about 25, 30 minutes west of the city of Philadelphia."
So we'll be in Philadelphia for like 3 nights, by the way. We're staying there 3 nights. They play there next Tuesday. Start off in Toronto on Sunday, then we go to Philly. What's the connection to Philly? I always thought you were a Boston boy.
Everybody sort of just assumes that because that's kind of where I cut my teeth with this game, I guess you could say, and started with TV and everything. But this is where I'm from, actually. And when Panger jumped over to Chicago and you know I got fired from that gig, we decided it was time to go home and time to head back to where where I grew up. And I have a couple young kids, and I know my way around, and we know it's a great area, so we came back to where I grew up.
There's no place like home, Colby. Always go home, man. Always go home. Listen, you said before you came on, and I've been following. I love your guys' clips, man. You guys do a great job, you and Johnny Laz. What's been upsetting people? Because you said something mean about Toronto. Is that what it is?
I mean, it's I guess I got a little sensitive to the fact that people are calling for Craig Berube's job, and
by the way.
I'm like, how stupid can you be? And everyone's like, well, look how many coaches Draisaitl and McDavid have had. And I'm like, trying to compare situations like that, it's like so dumb. And I'm just like, you know what? I look at Toronto, they clamored for Craig Berube. I really like Craig Berube. I don't know him super well. I've met him. He's from he lives not far from me up in New Hope, PA. And so I've like crossed paths with him just in like the local, hockey scene over the years. And just being around him, like that guy could run a Fortune 500 company that he didn't know anything about, because he's a leader, and he's the type of guy that walks into a room and just has like a presence about him. And so if you can't get on board with Craig Berube, there's something wrong with you. And I just look at Toronto and I'm, oh no, his system's not right. Everybody loves the word systems. Take your fucking word system. Sorry, I don't know if we can swear.
You're good.
Take your systems and take the word systems and shove it. Like, most people don't even know what they're talking about when they use that word, okay? Like, it's not the NFL. We're not in a 3-4 prevent defense. Like, hockey is a fluid sport. It's become a positionless sport. And at the end of the day, like, it comes down to willingness and basic structure, but your willingness to play within like a blueprint. It's not a system. Like, I hate that word.
Yeah, no, I talked about that before you came on, because I feel like this is what everybody goes to in Toronto. When things don't go their way, it's always about firing the coach. But I thought they needed a harder coach. And listen, I know Chief very well, and I had him on with Cam and I actually maybe 2 weeks ago, and I talked to him a lot. Listen, he's had to come in and like they wanted him to make some changes with some of these individual players. And it's hard to break some of these guys, man, when they've been used to playing a certain way. And, you hear, William Nylander specifically, like his comments about, not really believing that the defensive side of the thing, side of the thing, like, that's how I took it. He's like, well, I'd be more worried if we weren't scoring goals because it's harder to score goals. Sometimes you got to sacrifice a little bit of offense. You can't cheat in an effort to try to protect your own end of the ice and try to win more hockey games and try to be better as a team. That tells me these guys just don't really get it, Colby.
Look, you've been front row to a Stanley Cup. I've been front row to a Stanley Cup. We've seen what it takes. And you just, it's, ask Alexander Ovechkin when he decided and realized that what he did without the puck mattered just as much, and then he gets a Stanley Cup. He finally beats Pittsburgh in the playoffs that year, and same with Kuznetsov and a number of those other guys. Like, you have to be committed to it, and it's look, that comment reads to me like, yeah, I make 12, 13 million bucks, so like, what are you going to do? That's how I read that comment.
And I think he likes Willie, like they have a fun relationship, but I know he gives it to him all the time too. And he's not afraid to get in their face. Listen, a lot of these guys, and you know this, Colby, because you played at a big time college, you came into the NHL as a high draft pick. A lot of these guys are never coached hard, sometimes until they get to the NHL. And it may be their second or third coach before they're ever actually coached hard because some coaches just don't have it in them to be able to do that to their best players, and especially at the younger ages in college, you're always afraid of losing the kid. You don't want them to sign and leave early or transfer to a different school or whatever.
Big
So
problem.
you're always kissing their ass, right? And so Chief's not going to come in and kiss William Nylander's ass or Austin or whoever else. The one guy that he praises all the time that he doesn't have to worry about, and I wish more of these guys would follow his lead, because the longer he's played, the more I really come to respect who he is and his consistency is John Tavares, man. This guy is the same guy every single night.
He's man, taking the C off of his jersey is one of the biggest mistakes that Toronto has made in a number of years. I think you could point fingers at the mismanagement of the Mitch Marner situation as well, but I think those two things are monumental failures for Toronto, and I think they're going to continue to haunt them. I grew up playing hockey with John Tavares, and he was a 90 birth year. I was an 89, but he was obviously good enough to constantly be up. And our summer team growing up had Logan Couture and Drew Doughty and Kevin Shattenkirk, and it was a lot of the Ontario boys and a lot of us. Sort of the Northeast corridor tri-state kids, I guess, one or two Mass kids. I've always known, and you could always see with those guys, like, but John Tavares, like, always a quiet leader. Sammy Gagner was on that team as well. Like, we had some, I was a 45th pick in the draft. I might have been the lowest draft pick of like all the good players on that team as kids. So, but it's, look, that is a true statement that you made. Kids, like, nobody gets coached hard anymore. Gone are the days of Jack Parker. I had Jack Parker for a number of years, and then I had Bruce Cassidy for 4 straight years. So I would say I know what it's like personally to be coached really hard. The iron-fisted ruler to Bruce Cassidy, whom I think is, on any given night, the best coach in the world as far as X's and O's and tactics. But boy, can he can make it hard on you.
I've heard,
demanding and brutal and sarcastic at times. And so, but listen, it prepared me. I could deal with anything. I could deal with anyone. And then even in life now, I could deal with anything.
Yeah. And we'll move on from Toronto now, but I will say, watching them early in the year, like, I don't know how good they are either. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I know they've got some top-heavy star players who aren't even performing at the level that maybe we're accustomed to seeing them playing, but it drops off pretty quickly. I mean,
they look slow. Can't break the puck out. Problems
defensively. You get to their bottoms, it drops off. And when Chief won here, he had his fourth line had Ivan Barbashev on his fourth line, Alexander Steen on his fourth line, Oscar Sundqvist on his fourth line. These guys are all really good players, and they were all scoring goals even back then when they were on the fourth line. They all had around 14 goals during the regular season, scored big goals in the playoffs, but he doesn't have that.
If you look at the depth and the makeup of the St. Louis team that won, I'd say there's a lot of similarities to the 11 Bruins team that I was a part of.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember the Danny Paille, Greg Campbell, and Sean Thornton line, how important that line was. Brad Marchand was a third liner on that team. Tyler Seguin, when he was, bouncing in and out of the lineup, was on the third line once Nathan Horton got hurt. That it was it was a similar type of story, I think, where you had a group of real good players, but unbelievable buy-in and willingness, and you had like that combination of skill and nails, and I do actually draw, and then the goaltending on both sides for both those two teams was two of the better goaltending cup runs we've probably ever seen in the modern day. So there's a lot of similarities there, Strick.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Tim Thomas was incredible, and obviously
Oh,
Binnington was too. Um, who's going to drop off, in your opinion? All these teams that have been bad the last several years, whether it's San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim, Detroit, I mean, Montreal. I mean, they lose at home to 7-0 to Dallas last night. Like,
tough one. Yeah.
I mean, they're the one team of all those teams that is mentioned that I feel like are good enough to like stay afloat.
Me too.
But at the same time, you lose 7-0 at home, man. That's a tough one. Any of these teams pretenders, in your opinion, or do you think some of these will be there when it's all said and done?
Look, I think you could point and wonder about Pittsburgh, like, can they sustain it? But then you also have to remind yourself that Sidney Crosby looks 25 and Evgeny Malkin looks 25. And, these guys don't look like they've slowed down. They look motivated. It looks like a new voice has been helpful for them. But are we going to sit here and say Washington, Toronto, Tampa, and Florida, and New York are all not going to make the playoffs? Like, I have a hard time believing that none of those teams are going to make the playoffs. They're all on the outside looking in right now. So if that happens, then yeah, the Islanders got to come out. The Red Wings probably got to come out. Pittsburgh's probably got to come out. Maybe Boston's got to come out. Like, I'm not really sold necessarily there, but to me, like, I don't think Seattle, like, to me, that's the dead ringer. I do not foresee Seattle making the playoffs. I don't think that's a team that's going to sustain. I don't think they have enough. I think Joey Decord can be really good, but I think he's been a little bit inconsistent this year. And, to me, like, they're the team. I think Anaheim will find their way into the playoffs this year, although I don't think they'll be a successful playoff team because I think they're going to have to learn what every other team has learned. But it certainly doesn't look the way many of us predicted right now, and I think that's probably a fact.
Would you put Bedard on the Canada Olympic team? Because Celebrini, for me, is I think he's a lock. I think he'd have to really play his way off, but I think he's played his way on up to this point. I don't know how you don't keep him, especially when you just know he's going to be a part of things for a long time. Has Bedard done it enough? Like, how do you look at him this
Yeah.
Like, is this guy going to finish in the top 5 in scoring, in your opinion? Like, can he continue this pace?
Look, offensively, he's probably good enough to play for Team Canada, but everything that we saw at the Four Nations leads us to believe that you've got to be able to play as good defensively as you are offensively. We saw how tight those U.S.-Canada games. We know Finland and Sweden are going to be better teams at the Olympics than they were at the Four Nations. I keep calling it the World Cup, but the Four Nations. And like, we showed a goal the other night that Bedard kind of came back into the zone. Like, this was a goal against for Chicago. And he just kind of still makes junior hockey reads as a defensive player away from the puck. Like, he'll duplicate in coverage instead of like looking around and finding his guy. And then, that'll lead to some chaos behind him. And it hurt him the other night. And I showed it on Morning Cup of Hockey. And I was like, look, Connor Bedard has been a stud offensively this year. Like, I owe him an apology because I didn't think he could carry a team offensively. I really didn't. I didn't think he had an attack mentality where he was going to go into the hard area and either score goals from that area or move pucks out of that area while he's being double sets of eyes being put on him in those real hard and heavy areas. Now, he's attacking the puck this year with and without it. So good for him. And I've come out and said, I think I was wrong. I do think this kid might be a real special talent offensively, but there's still too many holes for me to put him on Team Canada because you can't play him at center for Team Canada, right? He's not beating out any of your first or second line players, and he can't. Macklin Celebrini could be your fourth line center and probably play like a checking forward and be the best checking forward at the Olympics.
I'm with you, man. I mean, he's so versatile. And Bedard, he's just not there yet. And listen, what he's done this season, I think, has been a real positive. and a real step in the right
Next
direction.
Olympics. Next Olympics.
Yeah, or maybe even the World Cup
Yeah.
2 years from now.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Put him in there. Any surprises on the USA side? Could you see anybody like, I mean, Tage Thompson's got to be on the team, right? So that wouldn't be considered a surprise at this stage. Can you have Keller and Caulfield? You take one of the two?
Probably have to take one of the two, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can take some extra guys. My question, and I mean, this is like sacrilege of me to say because he's a BU guy, but like, we were talking about this. Johnny and I started yelling and screaming at each other at the end of the show the other day because I'm like, how could Spencer Knight not be in the conversation? I'm like, to just ignore what he's doing. And you look at his save percentage, you look at the way Chicago plays defense, which is hit or miss. When they are defending, I'll give them credit. They're defending. But there's nights where they don't. And he's just been spectacular. And like, is Jake Ottinger slightly overrated? I don't know. Like, you really look at his body of work and you look at the big moments and yes, he had one playoff year where he was unbelievable, right? But is he truly in that top echelon of goaltenders? Like, I'm not sure. I'm really not. And so, I think Swayman's having a great year and he should go. And he just had a great world championship. Hellebuck, I think we all know, is going to at least have the opportunity to be the starting goaltender for that team. But like, do you have to look? I don't think Joey Decourt is the guy. I don't think he's been consistently good enough this season. But how can you ignore Spencer Knight and what he's doing? Like, are we only taking guys based on bodies of work? Are we taking some of the guys who are playing better than everybody else right now? And that's a question that only Billy Guerin can answer.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And listen, people need to be reminded that Spencer Knight was an absolute phenom.
Yeah.
When he was coming up. And people at the National Team Development Program were saying this is the best goalie that's ever come through here. Like, that's what they were saying at the time. Like, he was unbelievable, then had some personal issues, but he's found a home in Chicago and he's playing well. So the ability is there, and the people inside USA Hockey should certainly know that. So that'll be interesting to see.
I think Adam Fox is the biggest name to keep an eye on. And like, he's actually been pretty good this year. Even when the team hasn't been, Fox seems to be having a pretty good year. But like, let me ask you your opinion. If you've got Quinn Hughes running your first power play and you've got Zach Werenski on your second power play, where does Adam Fox go on that team? I'm still a believer in Adam Fox as a player. Like, there are people that are like, I'm moving on from this guy. Yeah. I still think he's a true one defenseman. Like, and I've watched the Rangers. I have to watch the Rangers. So I got to be ready to argue with Johnny every morning. But where does he fit? If he's not running one of your power plays, Strick, is he the right guy for that team? Or are you better off having an Alex Vlasic or somebody that's more versatile, that's bigger, that skates better? I'm just asking you the question, and I think it's worth the conversation.
Yeah. It's a great question, and he didn't play well in the Four Nations. He didn't stand out. You know what I mean? And his level of play that we saw from him a couple years ago when he won the Norris, and I just don't feel like he's really played at that same level. So there's one guy who they love internally with USA Hockey right now. I'm not saying he's going to make the team, but he'll be on that World Cup team 2 years from now, and he'll be on the Olympic team 4 years from now. Who knows? Is this Jackson Lacombe from
They love him.
Anaheim? You know what I mean? Like, it's like the Shane Pinto offensively. Like, this guy's going to end up probably finding his way on that fourth line too, where people probably didn't have his name penciled in.
Yeah.
So, hey, there's just too many players that have influence that I think are really pushing for some of these guys too, So,
and I would say this too, like, just because we're talking about the best of the best of the best, right? So just because Cole Caulfield doesn't make the team, or let's say Pinto does make the team or whatever, like, it's not necessarily just based on, all right, this guy's more talented. Like, of course, Cole Caulfield is a more talented goal scorer and offensive player than Shane Pinto. But Shane Pinto right now in the NHL, every night, they're giving him the number one line, okay? In whoever they're playing against, they're like, okay, you're going against Crosby tonight. You're going against Matthews tonight. You're going against McDavid tonight. Like, you're not even playing power play tonight, Shane, because you're on the ice against McDavid the whole night, right? And he comes on our show, so we've had him on a couple of times, and he's really good friends with Johnny. And so like he's a premier shutdown guy.
Yeah.
And so like, what are you trying to fill that hole? And we probably have enough depth where we could have two teams that would be competitive at the Olympic level, right?
Yep.
And so it's not a diss for people that are going to get, all bent out of shape about some of the things you and I are talking about right now, because we're saying, oh, we're going to leave our guy off or their guy off. But there's just a lot of good players.
Yeah.
It's not so much as your fault as it is other guys are just really good.
I know. Last thing for you real quick. Tage Thompson. I mean, I was just in Buffalo. Blues played there, and we showed a graphic on TV of all the players who obviously have come through there who have gone on to have great success. I mean, it's unbelievable. Could they move on from this guy now? Like, I think he would probably welcome a change, to be honest with you. I know he wants to win, and he didn't choose to go there. He was traded there. Like, I think he's eyeing the day that maybe he can play elsewhere and have a chance to win. Could you see them moving him? Because if they were willing to do so, I mean, I would imagine the line would be out the door to get this guy on board.
Yeah, I'm just looking. So he's got, after this year, he's got 4 years at $7.14 million.
Unbelievable contract.
I mean, so the price tag for him pretty much goes to 1.5 times whatever he's worth, because the value that you're getting, what are you buying? 30 goals for $7 million? Strick, you and I know it. We're 3 years away from $7 million being what a fourth line player makes on some teams.
Like, it's crazy.
So you're going to buy 30 plus for 7.1. I mean, who even has the assets to pull that off? Maybe Chicago.
Yeah.
Maybe they've got the assets. Look, I keep saying Kyle Davidson is doing the right thing by being patient. Like Johnny and I were arguing the other day because he's like, Chicago should push some chips in this year. And I'm like, no, don't stray. You've dealt with the pain of the rebuild. You're finally starting to smell it a little bit. Don't get excited. Stay with the program. Now, to me, that's a guy, though, Strick, on that contract at that age, with that size, with that compete, with that ability. Yeah. Like, imagine him with Connor Bedard.
Oh, my God.
Tage Thompson.
Yeah.
I mean, so, man.
And he's under contract. You get him for so many years at that number. But I agree with you with Chicago. Like, make the move when you're ready to make the mark, not just to get in and lose in the first round, So
no, and I don't think Kyle will. He's a patient guy. Listen, you're in St. Louis. You probably cross paths with the Chicago guys all the time. Like, Kyle's a really patient guy. And look, I know Rocky's not around anymore, and Danny's the man at the helm now. But I'll give him credit too. Like, they have given Kyle the opportunity to see his plan through so far. And I like that. I think that's a good thing. Like, I laugh and I literally say some of the best decisions that they've made over the last couple of years. Like, I joked about Panger off the top, like getting Panger in there is like one of the best trades that they've made, that they could have made. Like, I mean, you screw up with Eddie Olczyk, which is a massive, massive fail.
Yeah.
And then I go in there and eat shit for 2 years. And like, honestly, like, if I was in charge, I'd have done the same thing. I'd have said Panger like all day, every day. And they go out and get Scott Ball. The other best thing that they've done, other than that, right, is giving Kyle Davidson time to see a rebuild through. Not many GMs are given a 5 or 7 year rebuild and actually get to see it through. So I'll give Danny Wirtz a lot of credit on those things. Those are some brilliant moves that I think that he's made in the last couple of years.
And we're trying to find out who Kyle Davidson is still, right? He just didn't have a resume. He's a relatively new name, so I don't think he got the instant respect right off the bat. And
I think he's doing a good job, though. What do you think?
Well, shit, they're winning games now. I mean, it looks like it. I didn't love the way they handled the Corey Perry situation. That was weird. You know what I mean? I mean, there's like always like some weird stuff that happened.
I think that's over his head.
Yeah.
I don't think I think that came from a corner office over his head, from lawyers, from HR people.
No, I know.
And
right.
Look at that Spencer Knight deal, though. I
Yep.
mean, like, how often do two teams walk away from a trade and both say we hit a grand slam
Yeah.
and they're not lying?
I know.
That's rare.
And he signs them. So, I mean, quickly, too. So, all right, good stuff, Colby. I appreciate it, man. I want to get you on for longer, man. Always love talking to you.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? What's your morning schedule like? Just curiously, like, do you have like 9 to 10 a.m. is when we're live every morning? Is that like a time that works for you?
Always,
Okay,
always. That's
good.
always that's pretty much the best time.
Okay.
Because
it's Eastern, so
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm taking kids to school and stuff like that, but like 9 to 10, yeah. Because my day starts getting crazy after 10. You know.
perfect. Well, I got your cell phone
Yeah.
number now, so I'll be bugging you to come on Morning Cuppa here soon. All right.
Good stuff, man. You guys do a great
All right.
job. Keep it going.
Thanks, Strick. I appreciate it.
Take care, Colby. Thanks, man. All right, let's step aside. Jamal Mayers joins us next. Looking forward to our conversation. Blues and Flyers tonight. Vegas is here tomorrow. It's a back-to-back. Hockey Sense continues. Brought to you by First Community. Keep it here. Lordo's Diamonds. Get that special someone, something special in your life through Lordo's Diamonds. Do that and do that today. Lordo's Diamonds. Stop on in and say hi to Mike and Jimmy Lordo. Let them take great care of you. There's a reason why they've been around for over 70 years. Are you kidding me? No one does it better. You walk in with a $500 budget or $100 budget, $500,000 budget, or a $100 budget. You get treated exactly the same. It doesn't matter. Best selection of engagement rings if you're looking to pop the question this holiday season. LordosDiamonds.com, right there in the heart of Ladue. 314-432-8008. Kirkwood Fence, get that fence you've been dreaming of today. So many options. Chain link fence, vinyl fence. I got the white vinyl fence. I love it. They give you the best customer service too. KirkwoodFence.com. Check that out. Check out their Instagram. They are incredible at what they do. So many different options. They have incredible experts, people who have been doing this for a long time. Let them come out and give you that free estimate. They take care of all the permits and all that stuff. You don't have to do any of that. And they've been around for a long time. Check it out. Check it out today. You can call them 314-966-3333. Dedicated partner every step of the way. Simplifying the fence process since 1979. Schedule that free consultation. Get the experts in there to check out your yard and turn it into something you never thought it could be with a brand new fence from Kirkwood Fence. Jamal Mayers next. Don't go anywhere. All right, back here in Hockey Sense, Jamal Mayers joins us. We look forward to our conversation with Jammer each and every week. He's in beautiful Seattle. How's the weather in Seattle? Have you been outside yet? I know it's early there, Jammer.
Oh, it's early, but it's a little rainy as expected. Isn't that what it always is here?
I was telling the viewers, I feel bad even asking Jammer to come on this week. This is how good of a trooper this guy is. He's in Seattle. It's game day here. You know, it's going on 10 o'clock in the morning here in St. Louis, but it's so early out there in Seattle. You had to work the game last night, so thanks for doing this as always.
Of course, happy to. This is fun.
Okay. The Blues have won. They've gotten points in like 4 of the last 5 games, something like that. Jamal, I was with Jim Montgomery the other night. I mentioned this earlier, and he really believes they are so close to really moving things in the right direction. Or they're already moving things in the right direction, but so close to really turning it on. And no surprise that it all comes down to goaltending. Once your goaltending's better, everything else seems to fall in place.
I think you're right. And I'm not one to really dig deep into the analytics, but if you look at the numbers and all the relevant categories in regard to defending, they're in the top of the echelon, top 10 in the league, in fact, in all the metrics that really matter defensively. And when you're doing that, even though you're 31st in goals against, I mean, they're 4th, 10th, 11th, 3rd, 7th, and 9th in all the relevant shot attempts, shots allowed, slot shots, inner slot shots, offensive zone possession time in the top 10 of all those matrix. So, yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter when your goaltending doesn't match what you're doing defending wise. Now that it's improved, you're going to get the results.
And the power play is top 10, right? I mean, you can win a lot of games with good defense and a good power play.
Absolutely. A penalty kill, to me, that's one of the most fixable items on any team. It just takes everybody buying into the structure and the way that you want to kill. But to me, that should be, you need to fix that. There's no reason, personnel wise, they have veterans, personnel wise, they have guys that have a lot of courage that have done it in the past. They have to fix that element.
And it's interesting, you look at the power play and the guys who are picking up power play points, it's like they're defensemen. It's Justin Falk who's picking up points. Fowler's picked up some points recently. Well, why do you think the forwards, their top forwards right now in St. Louis, just really haven't gotten going yet?
Yeah, it's tough. I think that there's a lot of pressure on them to perform. That could be a factor. There's a lot of excitement, anticipation. When you don't start well, it kind of bleeds into their game. So, and sometimes you frost, and so that's unfortunate. But the top guys, I'm not really worried about. They're going to figure it out. They always do.
When you focus so much defensively, and there is a lot of focus on the defensive end, Jamal, because the goaltending was struggling so much. I mean, they were constantly tweaking things, not even tweaking things defensively, but just trying to get that figured out, and you mentioned the statistics. Can that take some of that offense away from your top players when it's defense, 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 defense?
Absolutely. I think that they want to play an instinct, and you want your offensive players to take chances, calculated risk, if you will. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but they play on that edge. That's what makes them special. They understand when they can cheat, if you will, and they understand when you go. And when you're in their heads a little bit, maybe it's affected their ability just to react and to trust their instincts.
Yeah.
So it looks like interesting to me. It looks like they moved Schenner to the wing, and now he's on the third line.
Yeah, he's been playing wing a little bit over the course of the last few games. And I think it's the addition of Dvorsky, Jamal. I mean, they drafted this kid 10th overall. And I will say it right now. I mean, the way this kid has played since he's come up, like, he's not going anywhere. Like, he's going to be here for, hopefully the next several years, but certainly the rest of this season. They sent Mayu down. He needed to go play. There's no doubt about it. But I think with the addition of Dvorsky, I think that's what's made Schenn, I don't want to say expendable, but it's, allowed the organization or at least the coaching staff to slide him over to the wing.
And that's great. I think we talked about it earlier in the year that the idea was, even though he didn't start with the big club, that Dvorsky would somehow push himself to play 50 games, which is over 2/3 of the season. And if he did that, then he's on the right trajectory. Sometimes we really want them to make the team out of the gate, and he was so close, but that was the best thing for him. And now you're seeing the patience pay off, and it's okay. It's part of the bigger plan when you have a guy like Schenner who can slide into that third line role, whether it's at center or the wing. That's probably where we all thought he would be if this team performs like we think it can.
We look at the top forwards and the top center specifically across the board in the league and just how fast they can skate and how, quickly they get up and down the ice. Guys like Pius Suter, for example, and Dvorsky, like, they're not fast players by any means. Although the pace really has not been an issue for Dvorsky. It's probably been skating's better than I think people give him credit for. But he's not a guy that flashes from a speed standpoint. What is it about these guys that allows them to make up for it in other areas where it's just not an issue in terms of how they impact the game?
It's all their hockey sense, their awareness of where to be and when to be there, and their ability to protect pucks, their ability to make sit plays, to understand how to anticipate. All of those factors create their hockey awareness, their understanding of where to be and how to support their teammates, and knowing that the puck is probably it's the most important thing, but it's also the awareness away from the puck that they have an acute understanding of. If I start going here, the puck's going to end up over here. My buddy's going to need help here. They all uniquely, players that don't have pace, they're really good at that. They're really good at figuring out how to be in the right spot to help their teammates.
No goals yet for Parayko. He had a career high last year of 16. Fowler hasn't scored a goal yet. Should that be any concern at all? And we're talking about two guys, obviously, you rely on from a defensive standpoint, but they haven't scored. Last year, that's another thing. Their defense made up for any type of, offensive struggles that they had because they were so productive from the back end. So even if your top players weren't producing, you got so much from your back end. These guys scored so much and timely goals and were a big part of their run down the stretch. Should we be concerned at all about the lack of goal scoring by a couple of these guys from the back end?
Yeah, that's the plain answer. Is like, you can't have all three struggling at the same time, right? And you're talking about Parayko, Broberg, and Fowler. Donuts. Like, that's not good.
Well, Broberg's got a couple. And listen, he's been their best player, Jamal.
Or the last 10 games.
Yeah.
Last 10 games.
Not just best defenseman. Jammer, this guy's unbelievable, honestly. Like, his ability to skate, like, you have to beat him twice. You got to beat him first time, and then he recovers, and then you got to beat him again. Like, his skating's incredible. Doesn't play the power play, which, and Parayko doesn't either. But, Fowler and Falk certainly get that opportunity. But I will say, in Broberg's defense, I mean, this guy's been pretty consistent, and he gets chances and whatever. But, yeah, you'd like to see more goals scored for sure.
Well, you're gonna need some from them. I mean, they're eating up over 20 minutes a night. They're guys playing in all situations. They're going to need to contribute as a group, not necessarily all on Parayko, not necessarily all on Fowler or Broberg, but as a group, for as many minutes as they're eating up, they need to get close to each of them up to 10 goals. And doesn't mean they all get 10, but 7 to 10, they're going to have to get there. And I still have every confidence they will.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Where are you going to be next week? I haven't looked at it because I'm going to be out of town. So we're going to do a Zoom style, Jam. I don't know if you're going to be in studio or if you're going to be somewhere across the country, and we're both going to be on Zoom, but it'll be fun to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, I'll be in Detroit.
Okay, good. All right,
tournament.
Looking forward to that. What do you have for us, man? I mean, there's so much. I can go in so many different directions with you. Spas and more, though. I'm going to start with that.
Let's do it. Yeah, Spas and More is a local master spa dealer with 2 locations, Sunset Hills and Overland Park, Kansas. Mike Leahy's the owner, and we all know his daughter, Angie Hess, because you're trying to weasel in there and get yourself a backyard oasis that's coming my way. Well, Master Spas is an American hot tub and swim manufacturer that does it in Fort Wayne, Indiana, not far from St. Louis, the largest hot tub and swim spa manufacturer in the U.S. They also have chili goat tubs from Michael Phelps. Spas and More offers high quality hot tubs, swing spas, cold tubs, infrared saunas for all of your health and wellness and relaxation needs. Turn your backyard oasis into your into a place of your dreams with a master spas from Spas and More. Spas and More located at 12957 Gravois Road in Sunset Hills, where we put the awe in spa. There you go.
Dobbs Tire and Auto Center, Jammer.
Well, dude, it's winter. I know we kind of skipped fall.
It's 70 degrees here today, just so you know.
But dude, it is winter, and it's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. I'm telling you what. The best thing about Dobbs is that they're locally owned. 43 store locations. Dobbs is offering winter tire deals on the best tire brands, up to $275 of savings on BF Goodrich, Goodyear, Cooper, Continental. Doesn't matter what you drive, a car, light truck, van, SUV, hybrid, EV. Dobbs has a team of experienced tire technicians and ASE certified associates to service them right. Go to Dobbs.com now. Even though it doesn't feel like winter, you're going to need them. You're going to need them before it turns to winter.
Yes.
So you got to get your tires right.
Yeah.
Go to Dobbs.com for more.
I know you're out of town. Big shout out to Harper, by the way, who signed her letter of intent to go play at Kansas State. But the family's here, and they got to eat tonight, Jamal. So I know Natalie's saying, hey, what should I do for dinner? What's your response?
She does everything, but cooking's not one of them, bud. So yeah, she will be calling and ordering in 5 restaurants: Barlino's Silk, Barlino's Roasteria, Chris's Pancake and Dining, Chris's at the Docket, Barlino's Twin Oaks. Unbelievable atmosphere in the bar there. The whole restaurant there is unreal. My favorite spot. They forged many lasting relationships with their customers. Their family food, cook good food, serve plenty. 50+ years in business. Only 2 places to dine at Barlino's. You could dine at home.
Yeah.
Or at one of Barlino's family restaurants.
That sounds way better. All right, Jammer, great stuff as always, man. Enjoy Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, baby. We'll talk to you next week.
Let's go.
Take care, man. That's Jamal Mayers. Always appreciate him joining us. Hey, First Community, this is great. How about this? Skip-a-Pay. First Community understands that life gets expensive this time of year. You got holiday shopping, all the year-end expenses, so your paycheck doesn't go as far. You know that. How nice would it be to hang a little more of your money right now, to hang on to it? So that's why they offer a Skip-a-Pay program. It's like a skip-a-payment program. Allows you to skip your next car loan payment using their mobile online banking app. You got to be in good standing with your loan and processing fees apply and all that, but Give yourself a break. Skip your next payment. Skip it this month. First Community wants to make your life easier. How nice is that? Because the holiday bills, man, they do ring up. We all know that. Skip a car payment. How nice would that be? Firstcommunity.com. Go check that out. Hackett Security, give them a call today. Check them out. HackettSecurity.com. Secure your home. Secure your business. Find out why so many government officials secure themselves with Hackett Security. Nobody else, no better place to do it. Hackett Security. Check it out, HackettSecurity.com. When I leave town, I know I'm safe with Hackett Security. All right, this has been Hockey Sense, brought to you by First Community. Of course, our friends over at Dirt Cheap Fun Fun, your one-stop party shop. Lordo's Diamonds, Blue Note Roofing, 314-920-5713. Everybody. Aiden, everybody here at Half Coast Studios. I hate to rush out of here, but I'm heading downtown. It's Blues and the Flyers tonight. Thanks for supporting Hockey Sense. As always, I'm Andy Strickland. Have a great weekend, everybody.